taking what I do best and applying it to those new skills or those sharpened skills that we built in camp. Whether he made weight or not has nothing to do with how our camp went. It was a hell of a camp, where we both kind of brought the better of each other out. My opponent basically charged at me, and we had one of those awkward Anderson Silva Weidman face-to-face contact thing. I'm like, oh man, it looked like I just kissed this dude. Is that what's gonna live forever on?
All right, guys, this is Crazy Kev here, and I'm here with UFC fighter Mr. Adam Fugitt. Adam, how we doing, my man?
Doing good.
All right. Adam, man, you just had a big win against Joshua Quinlan. Talk to us a little bit more about your performance and what's maybe next for you, man.
Shoot, I'm kind of riding that high down to the bottom now. The fights in the past, it's in the back of my brain, but it was basically it was a culmination of a great camp. Ended up changing up camps and going down to Fight Ready in Arizona and teaming up with Kelvin Gastelum and Ray Waters and Dan Moret, and it was a perfectly laid game plan by Eddie Chaw, and we really worked a lot of footwork and just we're mainly focused a lot on the stand up and where my mistakes have been in the past fights. So was able to put that on display and not get the outcome I wanted, but to get the win against a very tough game opponent in Joshua Quinlan to earn myself a new contract, which I'm super happy about, and we get to continue the journey. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm super glad you got that contract, man, because I know in both our interviews you were really worried about that contract, so I'm super glad you got it, man. Congrats to you. And obviously with you having a new contract, I know you're probably not the big calling out guy, but do you have any maybe some guys on maybe who you'd want next in the future?
I was actually looking at a couple of guys. I was looking at it. I discussed it with my coaches, but Nico Price, he just fought before me, so I thought maybe that was a good fight to look for. But he just got signed to fight in late September, so that one's off. And as far as names go, I'm not sure who we could see next. I'm open and game for everybody, So let's just let's do this thing, and when I'm out of fight camp, I tend to focus less on who's fighting or what's going on, just to get a little mental break, save my sanity a little bit.
Yeah, no, fair enough, man. And maybe I have an opponent for you. What about Billy Goff? You ever looked into him?
I know that he fought against Kinoshita, I believe, right? I think he got the first round finish a bit quicker than I did, so. That's got some fireworks right there. Other than that, I don't know much more about them. But hey, we're both welterweights, and we could definitely see each other in the future. I'm game for just about anything.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a good guy. I love talking to Billy Goff as well too. So I think that could be a fun matchup for you. And when you mentioned when you were in training camp, you were trying to fix some things that you needed to improve on. I mean, what was maybe some of those things that you were kind of really focusing on to kind of make your game even better?
A lot of focus issues and discipline, and trying to let go of that ego that screams at me when I get hit, to jump into the fray and to give it back twice, twice or tenfold or however you want to say it, which kind of makes me predictable, right? When you're hit at him, he jumps back in here trying to get one back. It kind of makes me predictable. So trying to just fix some of that stuff, as well as we made a video about it. I jokingly said that I had the Rocky Balboa feet from Rocky 1 and 2, and I needed the Apollo Creed feet from Rocky 3. So a lot of footwork, just putting in those reps to get my body to react naturally to respond correctly the right way with my footwork, and then just taking what I do best and applying it to those new skills those sharpened skills that we built in camp.
Yeah, no, that's definitely awesome, man. And you mentioned you were training with Kelvin Gastelum, man. I mean, that's a dangerous combo. You like to eat well, he likes to eat well. I mean, did you guys go out to eat together?
Oh man, yeah. We were hit. I was joking somebody, I gave him his flowers. We had a tough camp, and he got the W, and whether he made weight or not has nothing to do with how our camp went. It was a hell of a camp. Where we both kind of brought the better of each other out. But somebody on the interwebs, Twitterverse, wanted to take a crack at me for it. You guys must have been eating a lot together. And so I stole a line from one of my favorite childhood movies, The Heavyweights. Yeah, we were going out to one of those all you can eat buffets after every practice. The one called the Sizzler. We were eating it and closing the place. So that's what we were doing instead of practicing.
Fair enough. I didn't see that, but like I said, I just remember from talking to you that you like to eat and everything. So that's kind of funny. Now, with you getting that split decision, you mentioned like some people online. Was there anybody like in your like DMs or anything like trying to like hate at you or anything for getting that split decision win? Or is there any like funny insults you might have off the top of your head that you might have heard?
Not that I can recall. I know that there was some new. Actually, the funniest part of it all was I forgot. Over the pandemic, everything was shut down. So I was basically doing privates and stuff, out of my garage or, through like, just FaceTime or whatever. So I had put my number on my Instagram. So I would have got actually a couple of phone calls from random numbers after the fight. I'm like, who is this? So I answer it and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this worked. It's actually you. So, if I remember anything, it was the fact that I left my number on there and a couple of folks decided to try it and give me a call and, got through. So.
That's kind of funny. I didn't even think about that. That's kind of funny that people would go that far. And man, when you first started getting into fighting, I mean, like as like a kid and stuff, I mean, did you always want to be a fighter? I mean, how'd you kind of get into fighting?
I always wanted to be a professional athlete of some sort. And when I was real young, it was the WWF and, watching Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of stuff, and as I grew up, I realized that, collegiate style wrestling isn't, WWF wrestling. But nonetheless, I was just a super kind of like, active kid and a little hyperactive, maybe, a little too much energy, and just finding wrestling, just helped me with basically an outlet for all that extra energy. So I knew that team sports wasn't always, I was all right at baseball, definitely not anything special. Didn't hack it in football, was too rough for soccer, so found wrestling. I was like, holy crap, this is it. But back then there, you couldn't find a wrestling highlight, actually I was still watching VHS tapes for wrestling highlights in high school. YouTube had just kind of come into its own, or just started basically. I found like one John Smith highlight on there and would just replay it and watch Dan Gable's Ultimate Competitor tape. So there wasn't like, an outlet. There wasn't a future in collegiate wrestling unless you were at the very, top going to the Olympics. So I kind of thought that my professional dreams were kind of foiled at that point. And, but that was, when I was a kid, that was my dream, was to become a professional athlete of some kind.
Very nice. Very nice. Now you mentioned like the WWF and stuff. I mean, what's maybe some of your favorite finishers that you can remember?
Oh man. I mean, obviously the Stone Cold Stunner is iconic, but I also like some of the luchador guys, Eddie Guerrero's Frog Splash was always, that was always one of my favorites. We had a trampoline in the backyard, so the friends would come over and we'd pretend that it was the squared circle and jump up and hit a frog splash. And shoot, what else are some other ones? Of course, you got the choke slam. That's another iconic one. I know I'm going to be after this is over, I'm like, oh, I forgot this one, but that was, I guess, in the backyard on the trampoline days. Mom would always holler out, no punching or kicking, so you couldn't do the sweet chin music. You couldn't hit that one. Mom would come out hollering. So
No, fair enough, fair enough. Stupid question, but I mean, how come the Batista bomb's not used in MMA, man? You would think it'd be pretty useful.
Oh man, see, there you go. Batista had one of the best looking power bombs of all time.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, uh, yeah. I'll just leave that there. We saw some Russian 2-on-1 MMA stuff here not too long ago, and I think it was the power lifter Eddie something. I can't remember.
Oh, Eddie Hall, I think, right?
Eddie Hall. Yeah, didn't he pick that guy up and just pretty much Batista bomb him on his head?
Yeah, yeah. See, there you go.
Ugh.
Ridiculous. Definitely some crazy stuff, man. And man, when it just comes to you in general, I mean, when you first started getting into fighting, I mean, like, what's maybe some? Do you have any regrets and stuff in your fighting career, or do you kind of like how everything's been going so far?
you know, People have asked me, or people told me a long time ago I needed to leave my hometown. I needed to branch out there and experience some different places. Make myself the small fish in the room, and all things I've been told. And recently, just did that and saw the perks of it. Um, and I guess hindsight's 2020. I could go back and if I could go back, I would do that sooner. But my journey's always been special to me for you know basically making it with the gym that I started with the coaches that I started with, not believing in what we're doing that would get us to the higher level. So that was always special to me. I wouldn't take that back for anything. But like I said, hindsight's 2020. Maybe if I would have went somewhere earlier on, I would have gotten to this moment sooner. Maybe I wouldn't have. Maybe we hear a lot about those gym wars. People end up getting losing their career because they get in too many gym wars. So that could have
Yeah.
been my fate as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, fair enough, man. And when you're going through like your weigh-ins and stuff, like they call you up in order and stuff, so like you're kind of like right there with your opponent. I mean, what's kind of going through your head when you're like standing like right there with your opponent?
I mean, it's all that that moment is always the shittiest moment, right? Like,
Yeah,
I just want to get on the scale. I just want. At this point, I'm no longer hungry. I just want to put some fluid back in my body, and then we're gonna have to get up here and do this, weird way, face off. Something that's never been my favorite thing to do is the face off. But this time, I think this last time, it kind of gave me some clarity on what the fight was going to be. All right away, I knew that just from his energy in that moment and that face off. I'm like, oh man, this guy's not going nowhere. I very much know that this is going to be 3 rounds. It's going to be us cracking each other with the best shots. It's going to be pretty much a war. So. I'm thankful for the face off this time, whereas in the past, it's one of those things that kind of sucks.
yeah. No, do you ever like practice your stare downs and stuff? I mean, how's that kind of work?
No, I honestly don't give a lot to it.
Yeah,
It's man, it's a very weird, intimate moment. Like having to stare another man in the eyes and just Connor always talked about trying to break his opponents, or he would see the weakness in them, and this is just a weird standoff, where I'm looking a man in the eyes in front of cameras. Actually, one of my face-offs, I think it was my LFA fight. My opponent like basically charged at me, and we had one of those awkward Anderson Silva Weidman face-to-face contact thing. I'm like, oh man, it looked like I just kissed this dude. Like is that what's gonna live forever on? Is this picture of me and this guy coming face to face? Like, because that's not what I wanted.
no, no, I definitely hear you there, man. And when you're staying at like the fighter hotels, I mean, what's that kind of like too to just kind of hang out there?
Uh Honestly, I'm just so like zoned in on the task at hand. It's always kind of like shocking when you hop on the elevator and you go down and it opens up and there's another fighter standing in the same gear that you're in. It's always like bringing you back to that present moment. Like, oh yeah, this is where I'm at. I shouldn't be focused on the fight right now. I'm sitting in here in the fighter hotel. So it's all, it's not a bad thing. It's I don't know. It's kind of like this mutual agreement that we're all here to compete on the same show, and we're all looking to do the same things. Get the W and get that, hopefully get that win bonus. So I don't know. I haven't had any issues for sure.
Yeah, no, fair enough. That definitely makes sense. And when it comes to like getting back into fighting, I mean, is there any like set dates on maybe when we can maybe see you back again in the octagon, or maybe when you'd want to?
They told me to be looking at the fall, so we're looking hopefully early October.
Nice.
Late September is right around the corner, but I guess that's an option as well. So
There you go.
I just
Definitely.
got my I just got my housing situation in Arizona figured out, so I'm getting ready to head back down there and get back into the gym and get back to work. So
That sounds awesome, man. And if you had to pick any cool like arenas or maybe where you want to kind of be at in the future?
well, I mean, the two times I fought in Vegas, it's been at the Apex. So I mean, I'd like to, I really like the convenience of the PI being there. So please get me back out to Vegas and get me in like the T-Mobile or something bigger. I'm not asking for the Sphere. I know I'm not there yet, but give me in one of the event centers there in Vegas that's not the Apex.
Yeah, no, that would definitely be cool, man. I definitely hope we could see you there in the future. And Adam, like I said, it's always awesome talking to you, my man. Thank you so much for taking the time. I mean, what's maybe your final message out there for the fans watching this video?
Oh man, I'm still like half asleep, I guess. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Be on the lookout for my next fight. I hope that you guys enjoyed the last one. I know it wasn't a finish, but I thought that me and Josh both put on a hell of a striking clinic. Kept it interesting the whole time. I don't think there was ever really a dull moment, but hey, I look for me in the future.
That's right. That's right. We're looking forward to your next matchup, Adam. And thank you so much for coming on the show. Like I said, you've been on it more than anybody. So thank you so much for always taking the time. It means a lot to me.
No, 100%. I appreciate coming on here. This is it's awesome to grow with you.
Yeah, literally, like I said, we were literally like one of my first ever interviews, and then like got you right before your next fight, and then get you right after your win. So it's always awesome, man. And like you said, thank you so much for all the support. It means a lot to me, seriously.
Yeah, buddy. I look forward to talking to you again. We'll get together on the next one.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. Best of luck with you.
You too. Have a good one.